Welcome back to Redirecting. I'm about to share a story with you that was shared with me by a number of you. I appreciate those of you who share stories with me. I decided to talk about this one because it brings or sheds more light on a very significant issue we have here in this country and in the world, as a matter of fact. It's a story that's on CNN right now, and it's titled, "Black Rag Dolls Intended to be Abused Were Pulled from Shelves After They Were Called, not acceptable." Of course, they are not acceptable. As you look at the image on the screen, you see that they are definitely mimicking a certain racial group. And when you look at the color of the hair, it reminds me of the colors of Africa. So it is very clear who they are referring to here. And pinned right on the chest of the doll, I'm just going to read the statement here. First of all, it's called a Feel Better doll. Whenever things don't go well and you want to hit the wall and yell, here's a little Feel Better doll that you just will not do without. Just grab it firmly by the legs and find a wall to slam the doll. And as you whack the feel-good doll, do not forget to yell, "I feel good, I feel good." Now, that was being offered by HarveyHutterCoInc.com. Interesting. Interesting. And they have to have the nerve on one of the dolls. It looks like it has a scarf that says, "I love you." And so it is definitely a kick in the teeth. The scarf saying, "I love you," as if, well, I'm just gonna say this part. I'm gonna veer away a little bit from the doll itself. But this person is actually taunting because they feel like regardless to what we do to them, they're gonna love us. They believe that regardless to what they do to us, smile. And if you want to feel better, it's okay to mistreat me, massa. And so what this says to me is that those of us who keep allowing ourselves to be in the dark, those who may have the mindset of Jesse Peterson wake-up call, one of many that we present on a daily basis. If it's not me, it's someone else presenting these wake-up calls. And it's not just so-called black people doing it. I see a lot of Gentiles as well who are highlighting and talking about the ills of the reprobate mind that we see present here in the U.S. People who have no connection with righteousness or truth whatsoever, who have narcissistic natures by default. On the Young Turks, they talk about these things a lot. Anna and Jenk and their full staff, they talk about these things. And other spin-off shows from the Young Turks, they talk about these things as well. There's one show in particular, I forget the name of it, but he's a Gentile as well, and he talks about these things. He highlights the narcissistic nature of the people who would buy such a doll, the people who would create such a doll, the people who would promote such a doll. Very, very interesting indeed that we are starting to see an unraveling of their minds. It's almost as if they've gone mad to the point of just blatantly putting it out there. Now, I know back in the day when it was the popular thing to do, they were all doing it. Except those who decided, okay, we don't like this, so we're going to create the Underground Railroad and we're going to help these people. See, you always have both sides of it. You can't talk about one side without the other, although I know some of my people don't want to hear me talk about the other side. In all fairness, we must talk about both sides. Because there are those who created the Underground Railroad so that our people had a passage to freedom. or at least a perception of freedom, because we're not really free in this country, but they were escaping the hands of those who wanted to keep them in bondage. And so with these dolls, you will have those who will not support this, who knows that it's not right. But what we are seeing unfolding right before our eyes is almost as if these people are going mad. Like the woman who called the two black women the N-word. She called them that. And she says, yes, she'd do it again. She wants them to know. Her words were very, very clear. She wanted them to know. And no one is shocked at this point. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play the audio to that so you can hear what this woman said. These people they're not funny, but they really don't understand that they are revealing or exposing their own lack of spirituality. They have a spiritual and a natural deficiency.
Use of the N-word. I've used that word because they forced me into it. Do you see how that's incredibly offensive? Yes, I do. That's why I said it. What is that?
So she said it because she wanted to be offensive. She was very clear on that. She said she wanted to be offensive. And so there is a mindset that exists in these people, and they can't help themselves now. At this point, they're like, hey, this is me. I'm not hiding anymore. And so I'm kind of glad. I'm glad she's not hiding, because a lot of people would see that face and say, oh, Nancy, and I don't know what her name is, but, oh, her name is Nancy. Okay. And I didn't know that. I wasn't even looking at that, but she looks like a Nancy to me. You know, a lot of people will look at that face and say, oh, Nancy's such a nice woman. No. Nancy just showed that she has a rottenness in her heart. Okay. She looks like she bakes cookies, though, but she has shown that she has a rottenness in her heart, a spiritual deficiency, and a mental deficiency. And it's going to catch up to her one day. You see, it is. It has to. You reap what you sow in this world. That's a law that applies to everyone, a decree that has already been set before the foundation of the world. You reap what you sow. And so right now, in the peak of their pride, this is how they feel. They don't believe that this ride that they're on is ever going to come to an end. But it will. It will. And so all of this that they're feeling right now, being on a high horse, because that's what they're riding around on, the ride is going to come to an end, and really, really soon. Thank you to Sheila. She's one of the ones who shared this with me, and a few others as well. But thank you very, very much for sharing this story with me, because, again, it is time to pull the wool off of our eyes. And if we can help pull the wool off of other people's eyes, we should do that as well. And so that is part of the process of redirecting. Because we had a Christian mindset, many of us, before, where we believe we are supposed to overlook and forgive all of these things. But when you redirect your mind to the right path, to the truth, then you can truly be free when you understand who you are and who they are. Okay, family, with that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.